Optimization Manager here at James Publishing. So today we're going to be covering how to dominate local search using Google Local. We'll be live tweeting from today's webinar. Follow along using the @ James Publishing and hashtag JamesWebinar. So today what we're going to be covering is kind of a broad stroke of what is Google Local? Where does it show in the search results? What does it take to rank a Google Local listing? And the overall strengths and weaknesses of a Google Local optimization campaign. Next, we'll cover why you should be optimizing your Google Local listing. And finally, how to go about it. I'm going to give you guys tips and strategies for all levels of law firms. So starting off with what is Google Local? Google Local is an online directory that occupies a large amount of high-value search engine real estate. It was built to give web surfers the ability to quickly browse for services in their immediate area. And it allows web surfers to visit a website directly, ask for driving directions, and place a call directly to a business when browsing with a mobile phone. So on the right-hand side of the screen here, I have a screenshot of an example of a Google Local search result. So I type into Google New York personal injury lawyer, and this is what shows up. So you can see on the top and the bottom, highlighted in orange, is your traditional organic search engine results. So in the center here is the blue local listing pack. So as you can see on this first page, we have 8 listings for Google Local, and then the top position is for organic SEO, and probably the bottom, there's probably 3 or 4 additional. But the highest value position to be in is either in the very top organic SEO position or in this Google Local pack. So it's a lot better to rank, say second in Google Local than, second in the organic SEO. Because if you're ranking second in this blue box, you're still the only 3rd position down on the page. As opposed to being the second orange box at the bottom, you're still, have a lot of competitors in front of you. So I want to cover where the listings are showing. So they're showing within the organic SEO rankings, just as we showed on the last slide, and they're commonly found for broad searches, such as personal injury lawyer. So Google Local is dominant in the broad areas, such as personal injury lawyer, but you're not going to find it always for sub-practice areas. So say traumatic brain injury lawyers. That's likely going to be something dominated by SEO and not so much Google Local. So Google Local listings are also very prominent, almost 100% showing in searches including a location, pluralities, and the word in. So if you're to type in personal injury lawyer in your local area, there's a very good chance you're going to see Google Local listing results. Now, say you live in Boston and you practice in Boston. So if you were to type in Boston personal injury lawyer, you are almost definitely going to see the local listings. This includes typing personal injury lawyers. So typing a plurality is also going to trigger this. It's going to show multiple listings quickly using the local search results. And finally, using the word in. So if you're to search for personal injury lawyer or personal injury lawyers in Boston, you're definitely going to see local results. So I want to cover real quick what makes a listing rank. So there's hundreds of factors. There's, tons of different things you can do to optimize your site, optimize your listing, building citations, and all kinds of smaller factors within those categories. So I'm going to cover the low-hanging fruit in this webinar and also the most significant ranking factors. So I'm going to give you guys basically what you need to do to get yourselves, the majority of the way there. Finally, it takes a lot of time in the beginning. There's a lot of setup. There's a lot of verification processes. It can be pretty time-consuming. Everything's not streamlined. You can't just go to the website and do it. There's a lot of things like waiting for snail mail, waiting for phone calls to come in. So the setup is very time-intensive, and then also you need to spend time on it really monthly. Best is kind of on a bi-weekly basis, updating things, building new citations, but we'll get all to that later. So what I want to cover right now is the strengths of Google Local. So it gives law firms direct exposures to local clientele quickly. Second, it's present on all high-traffic, high-value searches. Like I spoke about earlier, Google Local is going to show for the broad search terms, such as personal injury lawyer. So traditionally, those searches are going to have a lot more traffic than the sub-practice searches, such as, traumatic brain injury or car accident. Those are all sub-practice areas, and they're very specific. More people are searching for kind of a broad personal injury lawyer and the like. So since Google Local shows for the broad search terms, it means it's much more valuable. There's more people searching for that, and you in turn get more impressions, more calls, more clicks to your websites. So next I'll touch on the weaknesses of Google Local. So a law firm's Google Local listing will only appear in their hometown. So if you practice in Quincy in Quincy in Massachusetts, your listing is only going to show in Quincy. Now, as you expand your presence, it'll also show statewide, but you won't be able to target the neighboring towns, say Milton or Boston. That's something that SEO is really best for. If you're interested in targeting multiple cities, then Google Local, it's not really the best for that. It's really strong at dominating your local city. So, secondly, kind of the double-edged sword here to be showing for all the high-value broad terms is that you're not really going to show for the traumatic brain injury and the car accident. So if you only practice in a very narrow sub area there, like you have a very strong niche, it's probably not going to be best for you. You'll still show on the map, but the problem is the map doesn't always show for those searches. The map triggers almost 100% of the time for the broad-based searches. So if you're practicing in a very focused niche, it might not be for you. So next I want to cover why you should invest in Google Local. Invest time or money, however you want to go about it. So a well-ranked Google Local listing guarantees you first page placement for all high-value searches that Google listings appear within. So if you're doing well within Google Local, how it works is every single time that listing, the pack of listings are shown, you're going to be there. So it's a little different from SEO, where SEO will focus in on a certain keyword and will make sure you show for that one. Now, ranking for several terms with SEO happens, but with Google Local, it's a guarantee. When you're doing well in your city for a broad-based term, you're going to be there for every single variation, so you really maximize exposure. Secondly, a well-ranked Google Local listing capitalizes on the increasing trend of Americans using smartphones to browse the web. So Google's caught on that a lot of people are using their smartphones to, access the internet. And more specifically, they've caught on that, hey, when people are using their mobile phone and they're on the go, they want to connect to somebody or something quickly. They don't have as much time. They're not going to wait for websites that take a long time to load. So Google Local does a great job of streamlining the entire process, and it gives mobile users the option to say, hey, okay, here's a personal injury lawyer in New York. I don't really have time to browse through his website, see that he has great content, all that stuff. I'm, on my lunch break here, I just need to place a quick call, get somebody on the phone, or I need to get driving directions directly to their office because, I'm on my way. So Google Local does a great job of that, and it really fills a hole in a lot of people's web presence there. So, similar to SEO, it allows web surfers to visit your website directly from Google. So you get that a lot with people using their desktop or traditional computer. If there's local listings, they can still visit your website. So it also lets web surfers get directions to your office directly from Google. And finally, it allows web surfers to place a call directly to your business from Google. So continuing on with why you should invest in Google Local. So this is one of the only platforms that you get measurable results for. So Google Local has added its own standalone dashboard, just kind of similar to Google Analytics, but it highlights a few key areas where Google Analytics falls short. So it tracks impressions first. So similar to page views for SEO, you'll be able to see how many times is my Google Local listing being shown, on a monthly basis, weekly basis. But more importantly, it tracks actions. So you'll be able to see how many people click through to your website, how many mobile users have placed a phone call directly to you, from the search results, and how many times people have, requested driving directions. And it'll even show where these people are coming from because everything's local based. So I've attached a screenshot from one of our clients' Google Local analytics dashboard here, and kind of running through it, we have the impressions at the top. We have where driving directions come from. So you can see he's located right in here, and you can see his clientele searching for him from the local area. These are all people asking to get directions to his office. Okay, so continuing on with why you should invest some time or money into Google Local. If you're currently ranking organically or using Google AdWords, any kind of search engine marketing, you can dominate your local city searches by being listed multiple times for the highest value keywords. So here's a screenshot from our rank tracking software of one of our clients here. So in the orange on the left, I've highlighted their SEO or organic rankings. And on the right, I've highlighted their Google local rankings. So as we touched on previously, I showed you guys that the SEO rankings are shown, above and below the Google local rankings. Sometimes the Google local rankings are completely above, but they're both on the same page. So what I'm getting at is on the right column here in the blue, you'll see that they're ranked several times in the first position for Google local. Now, for those same exact searches on the left column, they're also ranked with organic SEO rankings. So what this means is when you type in these keywords, you're going to see this client's website 2 times. That's huge. It gives them 2 shots out of 10. There's traditionally, 10 to 15 results on one page, so you're doubling your odds for these high-value keywords. So that's what all these red arrows kind of are showing here, is that basically for all of these searches, which are high value because that's where Google Local shows, we have things like San Diego Disability Lawyer, San Diego Social Security Disability Lawyers, Disability Lawyers San Diego. They're showing up twice. They're getting, twice the impressions, twice the clicks, potentially twice the phone calls and twice the cases out of these searches. So it can be very lucrative if it's done correctly. So now I kind of want to transition into how to go about it. Hopefully you can see the value in a Google local listing that's well optimized. So now I just want to teach you, how to kind of go through the process, get the ball rolling, and, I'm going to give you some tips and strategies along the way. So first thing you need to do is head over to Google Places. You can go ahead and search Google Places online, and it'll take you straight to there. So basically, starting off here, you need to, I'm going to check my slides real quick, everybody. If you could just hang on one moment with me here. Okay, looks like I have a duplicate slide, so I'm just going to swap over right here and continue on. So I apologize about that, and let's go ahead and continue. So how to create a Google local listing. So we'll go ahead and send out a link at this point in the GoToWebinar meeting. But basically what you're going to need to do is click that link, or you can go ahead and Google the keyword, how to set up a Google local listing. And that'll take you directly to the Google website where you can go ahead and add your business. So when you get to that page, they're going to ask you for your business information, your phone number, your business name, your address, and the like. So after you've submitted that information, you'll be asked, how would you like to validate that listing? So Google is extremely, extremely picky about who they let into Google Local, and they want to really just make sure that everybody's information is 100% accurate. So the verification, it can be a lot. So what I'm getting at here is once you enter in your information and you're ready to verify, if you get the option to verify by phone, it's really the way to go. And you only get one shot at it, so make sure you have somebody by the phone ready to pick up and enter in that verification code. If you don't get the option to verify by phone, you're going to have to choose to verify via postcard or snail mail. So these traditionally take 2 to 3 weeks to get to you, and they're notorious for getting lost in the mail. The design of the postcard, it just kind of looks like a solicitation. So a lot of legal secretaries just kind of toss them to the side. They kind of get put in the trash pile. So if you don't get the phone option and the postcard sent, really just be on the lookout for that postcard because it's 2 to 3 weeks getting to you. So if in 3 weeks you haven't received it, you have to request another postcard, and that's an additional 2 to 3 weeks before you get another shot at verifying your listing. So you can see how this can really delay your campaign if things aren't really orchestrated in the beginning here. So let's go ahead and continue here. So now I'm going to kind of give you guys the top 3 ranking factors. There's tons and tons of ranking factors, but these 3 ranking factors I'm going to give you are the most significant. They're really going to give you the most bang for your buck or the time you're investing. So I'm going to start with citations. So citations are active, accurate listings of your law firm hosted by online directories. They're the single most important ranking factor in Google Local. Google will actively search for websites that have consistently listed your law firm with the correct name, address, and phone number. So the reason that this is so important is Google really wants to make sure that they're giving, their clientele, who are the people who are using Google, the correct information. They don't want disconnected phone numbers. They don't want the wrong address, anything like that. So it really comes down to making sure that they're able to deliver their clients the correct information. So kind of staying with the citations here, the citation quantity, accuracy, and quality all come into play. So how many citations you have is going to be a strong ranking factor within, this ranking factor. The accuracy is huge. Make sure the name, address, and phone number of every single listing exactly matches your Google Local listing. The way to do that is to sign into your Google Local dashboard and just check out your local listing and just really confirm that what you're entering into these external websites is an exact match, because it's actually a penalty if it doesn't match. Okay, finally, the quality of your citations. So there's software out there, there's cheap ways to outsource this, but what it really comes down to, and I'm going to touch on one of these other ranking factors, is how well are you using these? Are you just going to these online directories, entering your name, address, phone number, maybe website? Or are you going there and you're making the most out of each citation? Are you adding in your photos? Are you adding in your hours of operation? Are you adding in a short description? Are you adding in, your accreditations, your established year? There's a lot. And Google's going to go through and kind of give it a quality, ranking factor as well. So that's really, the 3 things you need to keep in mind when you're creating your online citations is, hey, how many do I need to create? Make sure everything matches up, and make sure I really fill them out with all fields available. So next I want to touch on the perfect citation. So what you want to do is find established websites. There are hundreds of thousands of online web directories. So Google will actively, favor one over the other depending on how long they've been around, how many sites are linking into them and the like. So an established online directory is going to, give you more ranking power than, some little directory that's just kind of popped up. If you can find local online directories, that's great. So if you have your local, business community, if they have a website and you can list on there, that's great. County, statewide, that's all great because you're trying to rank local. You remember that. And finally, if it's a legal directory, then you're also going to get additional ranking power. Okay, so citations should be built on a consistent monthly basis. So one of the things that we see done a lot is people will pay to get citations created. So they're going to pay and get, maybe, let's just say 50 citations created. They'll be done within about 5 days. Okay, great. So, things might be good for about a week, but Google wants to see consistent action. They want to see consistently more citations coming in, pointing to your business to make sure things are fine because, frequently, just basically how it looks to Google is a business that's getting citations and then stops. They're not sure if that business still exists. Did they change addresses? Did they change phone numbers? It looks fishy, and it's not really a positive ranking factor at all. So next I'm going to give you guys some low-hanging fruit. You guys should then go ahead and create listings at established sites such as Yahoo, Bing, Yelp, and Thumbtack. Thumbtack has really risen in the last couple months. We're starting to see them show for legal searches just in about the past 2 months now. So that's really a big one because obviously you're going to see Yahoo and Bing results, but Thumbtack is just really grown. So we're having a lot of success with that one. Next, go ahead and create listings at online legal directories. If you don't have an Avo profile, go ahead and claim that immediately. That's a huge one. It's established, it's legal, and it it determines that you're a local attorney. So that's great. NOLO is another great one. There's tons of them out there. I'm sure you guys have seen them. Another one that we see that people miss very frequently is your state bar directory. So a lot of states will list you for free. Again, it's established. It's normally a .gov, which is huge in Google's eyes. It's local, lists your state, and it's legal. So I mean, that's really just a great one to get that not a lot of people have. So it's a great way to distinguish yourself in Google's eyes. All right, so now we're going to move on to the local listing factors. So when you're actually building out your Google local listing, the information you input is going to directly affect how you rank and how well you rank in Google local. So Google gives weight to listings that make use of all available options. They're going to include multimedia, such as multiple images. They're going to include videos if they have them. You're going to fill out your business hours, accreditations, language spoken, payments accepted. Really just make use of every option they give you. If you have an answer to it, make sure you go ahead and answer it accurately. So next is just kind of a warning and a tip here. So I strongly recommend only using the proper category for your business. So Google has publicly stated that attempting to exploit this will result in heavy ranking penalties. So in the past, what we've seen is, attorneys will select attorney, lawyers, criminal defense lawyer, personal injury lawyer, really just everything. And in the beginning, it worked well. You would show up for multiple, areas. You get more calls. A lot of people would use those, refer those out to fellow attorneys. Google's caught on to that. I would really recommend staying away from that because we're seeing a lot of people just getting penalized, and it's really ruining campaigns when people are doing that now. So the low-hanging fruit for this slide is add your target keyword once into your company description. So Google is going to give you an option to describe your business, kind of write a little bit like an About Us page. So make sure if you're a personal injury lawyer in Boston that you refer to yourself as Boston Personal Injury Lawyers. Any kind of keyword that is showing up in your local area, here's your chance to use it. And I'm going to say, don't overdo it. Maybe add it in once. Once is perfect. Keyword spam is something that Google is onto, has been onto, and you really don't want to overdo it because you risk getting penalized. An additional piece of low-hanging fruit is rename the file name of your images to your target keyword. So the file name of an image might be, attorney Mark Bennett.jpg. So what you want to rename that to is Massachusetts Criminal Defense Attorneys. Now upload that to Google. So Google can't actually read images, and they have a couple of ways of kind of deciphering what an image is. One is the file name. So that's an easy way to kind of show Google, hey, this is what I'm related to. I'm uploading a picture of Massachusetts Criminal Defense Attorneys to my local listing, and it's going to be a positive ranking factor for you. All right, so the final slide here is OnPage Factors. So when you are creating your local listing, it's going to be linked up to your existing website. So Google is going to crawl your website and make sure that the website you link to your Google local listing has to do with what you're trying to rank for. So the website that your local listing is linked to is the final top ranking factor. Google checks your site's authority, amount of links pointing towards your website, and if your name, address, and phone number are crawlable and accurate. So what crawlable means is it needs to be listed in text format. So within the content, if you have it as an image, Google's not going to be able to read it, so you're not going to get credit for it. It needs to be accurate. Your name, address, and phone number, again, needs to exactly match your Google local listing. A great place to list this is at the bottom of the homepage in your content. All right, so established sites rank faster in Google Local, while newer sites benefit in organic rankings or SEO from Google Local optimization. So if you're an established website, if you can link that to your Google Local account, your rankings are just going to go up very quickly because you're a trusted source. Google already trusts you and is ranking you organically. It's almost like an add-on at that point. If you're a newer site, your organic rankings are actually going to improve. So it's also, a great idea to link those two together. So low-hanging fruit for this final ranking factor is add your website name, address, and phone number in text format on the home page. And I recommend doing this at the bottom of the content because it kind of looks out of place near the top. It's almost like a nice sign-off at the bottom of the home page. And finally, I recommend you start today. Local is only growing. A couple months back, they were only showing 3, 4 results. Now we're seeing 8 and 12 results on individual searches. So it's just really expanding. It's capitalizing on mobile. There's a lot of great things we covered on why you should start doing Google Local. If you have any questions or advice or would like to know more about our Google Local program, you're welcome to contact me, Jacob Pinkham. My number is listed there below, 714-755-1142, or feel free to shoot me an email at jacob@jamespublishing.com. All right, so that wraps it up for today. Tune in next week for our next educational webinar, and I hope you have a great day.